Rubik's Cube is a toy, a puzzle, that's basically a 3 by 3 by 3 cube where any face can be rotated independently of all the other faces. The object of the game is you get the thing in correct order when it arrives, you scramble the faces, and then you want to put it back into the correct order again. Once you've mastered that, then you can work on putting it into pleasing orders. Checkerboards, dots in the middle, U's, snakes that crawl around all the surfaces of the cube. The cube was originally invented by a guy who was a professor of architecture as an exercise in 3D visualization for his students. The question was, could you build something where you could rotate all 6 faces individually without it falling apart? And of course, before he could assign it to his students, he had to do it himself. And he built one himself. And architecture, I think, sits at the intersection of engineering and art. And so the cube already is at that intersection of art and engineering, but as a combinatoric mathematical toy, it brings in the math. I think that it really does cover all of STEAM, almost all of STEAM, perhaps not science, but certainly technology, engineering, math, and arts. Oh, easily enough, in a math class, how many permutations are to this thing? In a technology class, if people haven't already taken one apart, present them with the same problem that Rubik presented 40 years ago. How do you build something where you can rotate all the faces and not have it fall apart? How do you build a 4 by 4 by 4 one? You can buy cubes now up to 17 by 17 by 17, which must be absolute mechanical nightmares inside. But what a challenge for a technology class. There's simply the art of what kind of patterns can you make on the faces? There's one magician who makes his living entirely off the Rubik's Cube. That's the whole basis for his magic act. And I suppose magic is an art far more than it's a science. Particularly in the classroom, I think that it's probably going to be math and engineering as much as art. I think any kind of puzzle that really challenges the mind requires step-by-step logical thinking, which is really, I think, the best approach to any problem. Now, I'm a computer programmer by nature, so that's my approach to things, is to take a big problem, break it down into manageable pieces, solve the pieces, put it back together. It was much the same approach with the original cube solutions, which was to break it down. How can I rotate one cube without turning anything? How can I move a corner piece or a center piece without changing anything else? So it's that same kind of thinking, but it really is an excellent exercise in critical thinking at all, just like crossword puzzles, just like solving cryptograms, just like anything that forces your mind to work is useful across the board. Anything that allows an artist to look at the world in a new way is useful in the classroom, and is useful in one.
Within engineering and science and technology and math, there is art. You have to be able to visualize things. You have to be able to kind of see beyond, use your imagination. Things in math are very cut and dry. Usually everything equals everything else. But with art, you use your imagination to actually see things. Like within a 3D program, if I was to model this, and I would be basically modeling geometry, which is math. I would be modeling the motion of which it goes, which is physics. I'd be modeling the light, which is coming off this, which would be refraction. So these are all real life, real world environments where basically, I think, one of the additions that art would lend itself to is creativity. I mean, you have to be creative within engineering, science and math and all that, but to have the imagination to see outside of the box. If we didn't have art, we wouldn't have beautiful bridges, suspension bridges. We just have these big boxes. Math, you need, think of the guy, I'm sure it's a Russian thing, 'cause it's kind of like Tetris, right? It's engineering in itself. It's color coordinated. There are, let's see, 6 ranges of motion between each panel. So some engineer had to actually design this, but some artist had to come up with how this thing is creative, how can it become a game. So games in general, they activate certain things in your mind. It's kind of the creative joy to take a Rubik's Cube and see it as a piece of geometry, and as an artist I see it as 6 different colors, but to go through the motions, put it together, scramble it up, it's human that we want to solve problems. When we see this as, unless you're Picasso, and if you're a Picasso, this would be great. It's up to the game designer to tell you what the end result will be.
Okay, so this game is a peer coordination game, and it's a board game, and what happens is, in peer coordination, there are barriers that we must overcome, and so we each have a game piece, and it's sort of like Monopoly, you go around the board, and you roll the dice. So when you roll the dice, then you move your game board, and then you read what it says, and then you take it. So let's just start. Okay, you got an attaboy. It's just, you got time to read it? It says lucky break. Spaces, so that means that you have updated your resource manual with what you need for peer coordination. Make sure that we have all our resources listed and we access those on pages or
Well, the mathematical part would be knowing what sides you turn, how many times, and you always get the same outcome. Consistency.
Science to it, but from turning the different sides and how many times you've turned the sides to figure it out.